This is the Salton Sea, and we are approaching it barefoot because it gets very mushy towards the shoreline. There's a pelican in the sky. This is absolutely beautiful beyond words. There's a bunch of tires, maybe from back when this used to be a tourist destination and a boating destination. Okay, look at this. Oh. Oh boy. Okay, it's getting deep out. This is where somebody had to turn back. All right, what do you think? Okay, wait, it's actually a little concerning how... Oh gosh. Okay, all right. Don't go too far, please. Don't go too far. I'm so light. Yeah, but... Oh gosh. That is so deep.
If anybody knows me,
it smells...
This is my voice of panic.
Like poop, and kinda looks like it too. Don't go further, please. All right, this may not be... Oh, it smells like absolute...
Feces.
This might be over. Oh, God.
All right, well, I thought I got a better video than that. That is the Salton Sea, people, and I think there's a spiritual reason for which I have an adoration for the Salton Sea. Let me bring this out here like this, okay. The Salton Sea, if you don't know what it is, first of all, don't watch the movie with Val Kilmer called The Salton Sea. I haven't seen it in 20 years, but I don't remember it being good. It's a landlocked body of water on the San Andreas Fault Trough, whatever they call it, in the middle of the California desert. A dried up lake bed from 1 million years ago that was revived when they were irrigating from the Colorado River to try to bring in water so they could turn the lands into sort of farmlands in the early 1900s. And then the headwaters, whatever of the where they were diverting the water from the Colorado River breached because of some technical failures. And for 2 years, a portion of the Colorado River was diverted into this dried lake bed in the middle of the California desert. And for like a decade or two in the 70s, it became like this hotspot. I think they called it something the Riviera of the desert, something along those lines. Water skiing, real estate, and they had to have sold the real estate knowing that this lake was going to dry up eventually because they cut off the flow from the Colorado River. I was there 20 years ago with my wife, I believe. And then we went back about 7 years ago, when they still had fish left in it. The salinity of the Salton Sea is now twice that of the Pacific Ocean. I was told by the lady at the center for, what do they call it? The recreation center, whatever, where the tourists come in the information booth, that they had their last fish die off 5 or 6 years ago. So it was like the year after we were there. And there are no longer any fish anywhere in the Salton Sea. It was tilapia, the last fish to die off. And I love the Salton Sea. It's the most visually stunning place, well, I mean, you know, up there, top 5 that I've ever been to. And there is something, not to get spiritual, there is something spiritually amazing about it. It's looks like heaven on earth. And then as you approach it, you realize it's inhospitable, uninhabitable. And as you get closer to the water, by the way, what I wasn't properly explaining in that video is not only did I sink down to my knees in this sludge that really made you panic, it was like quicksand. It was scalding hot where my feet were underneath. My kid wasn't puncturing through the slop. And it was beautiful. And then we drove down to Bombay Beach, which was one of the beaches, the prime real estate back in the day. Bombay Beach was flooded in the 80s because it was like flooding and drying. And the entire area now is basically like a wasteland. It's a desert wasteland. We show up to the tourist center. There's a woman there working there. There's one car in the parking lot, and it's the employee's car. They had like 28 people who checked in that day. Anyway, it's amazing. Drove down to Bombay Beach, which is virtually abandoned. It's like the relics of civilization. I did not go to Slab City, and I didn't make it down to the Art Mountain, but I felt a little immoral or dirty driving around Bombay Beach because I think there's still some people that live there. but it's like it kind of feels like you're looking at a car wreck because buildings are burnt out, everything's vandalized, and there's some people, I guess, that still live there in a little square in the middle of the desert at the foot of a drying up Salton Sea that is too salty for fish. Bird life is now going to disappear as well because there's nothing to eat there anymore. And it's like looking into the past in a sense. And you got these beautiful mountains in the distance. The lake itself is perfectly still. Oh yeah, and some of the health issues that it creates is that as the lake dries up and the silt becomes exposed, it blows up in the air and it goes down the valley and it hits this town. I forget which the next city is. And the prevalence of asthma and all sorts of other health issues are through the roof. And there was talk about how they could fix this, replenish the Salton Sea, whether they could drill a pipeline to the ocean down in Mexico and bring in salt water. And it is it's beautiful. It's beautiful. But it was really disgusting when I was stepping in that slop because apparently it's not just like the stuff that's drying out and being left over. Apparently, like the only thing feeding the Salton Sea now is runoff from farmland. And as I was knee deep in what smelt like shit, I was scratching the shins as I was going down because the top layer, it's no longer fish bones. It's just like fish vertebrates, whatever bones and skeletals left from the die-off of 6 or 7 years ago. And it was scratching my leg. Then I'm thinking, holy crab apples. Viva's going to get flesh-eating virus and have to have both of his legs amputated. And then people are going to say, Viva, you idiot. You have all these germs and phobias and neuroses and whatever, and you're going knee-deep into slop in the Salton Sea. But touch wood, thus far. So far, so good. I have not. The scratches are gone. We washed off thoroughly and disinfected thoroughly. I went back into the visitor center and asked the lady if she had any hand sanitizer, and I used about a quarter of a bottle disinfecting my legs. The funny thing, though, as you went down, there was a place, I noticed a sign that said lithium deposit or something along the lines of lithium, because apparently there might be lithium in there. You look at this place, you say there has to be some amazing resource in there. California as a whole, geologically, it's a work of divine creation. Politically, it's a work of satanic destruction. But geologically, it's absolutely amazing. And I noticed a sign that said lithium, and I don't know if they're doing any lithium mining there. But if they're not, and it brings us to our first sponsor before we get into today's show, people. It is no secret that we live in very uncertain and volatile times. Lithium good, gold better. The dollar is collapsing and faith in our monetary system is at an all-time low while inflation is skyrocketing. When they tell you it's only at 2 or 3% now, that's because it came down from the 10 or 12%, which was a lot more because they're lying. They just lie through their teeth. No one has a crystal ball when it comes to the future, and the truth is that no one really knows what's going to happen, but it's important for you to protect yourself financially. I give myself the insurance by investing in hard physical assets like gold and silver. Historically, gold and silver have been one of the safest investments, and it allows everyone to hedge their bets against runaway inflation. I personally trust my friends at Monetary Gold. They're legit. They'll take care of you. You can roll over your IRA into gold and silver. Just inquire as to what penalties, if any, there might be. But gold, silver historically have been amazing. That is to say, when you sell your IRA, there could be things going on there that you have to look into. Tell them I sent you. For a limited time, you can get $5,000 in free gold and silver on qualified purchases. Sleep well at night knowing that you're protected. Give Monetary Gold a call. 800-476-1303. 800-476-1303. And third time's the charm. 800-476-1303. MonetaryGold.com. And people, it's madness. I miss one day. I miss one day of streaming. Although yesterday I did the book review. I'm not sure how much of it I'm allowed teasing, but stay tuned for Viva Fry and Michael Knowles do book review of The Old Man and the Sea. I don't know when it comes out. We shot the content and it was amazing. And Michael Knowles, I don't want to say an idiot savant because that sort of has the idiot inside. He's a very, very smart person. I felt stupid sitting in his presence, but that's always a good thing because I absorbed a lot of information. But we did a book review. I don't know when it's going to be cut and published, but coming soon, so stay tuned. Viva Fry, Michael Knowles book review. I miss one day, and it's almost as though I miss a universe. Yesterday alone, and we're going to go over all of these, and this is going to be the three things we talk about before we head over to vivabarneslaw.locals.com. You had the Secret Service report coming out about the Trump assassination, the failed assassination attempt number one. And we'll get into it. But Dan Bongino calls it layered incompetence, which shows intent. And I agree. The idea, and Tim Pool has a similar term for this. This is deliberate incompetence, or structural incompetence. I dare say that this is an attempt from the highest point down, because the people at the bottom who are actually at risk from the decisions of the people at the top don't like this any more than Trump and team. It's deliberate. Period. Full stop. Deliberate through letting it happen on purpose. All right. Alex Jones being turned into an indentured servant. And if you don't know what that term is, we're going to look it up. But the judge in Texas, that wonderful, totally not biased judge in Texas, authorizing the liquidation of the assets of InfoWars to satisfy the $1 billion, $1.5 billion. We were watching Austin Powers on TV yesterday. $1 billion defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress judgment that Alex Jones, with his words, caused the family. Not the school that may or may not have taken precautions that were required in order to mitigate, prevent these types of catastrophes. Not the family, not the police, not it. Alex Jones. Eric Adams, apparently going to be indicted sooner than later. We don't know on what grounds yet, but some, including Eric Adams, believe it might be some form of reprisal for Eric Adams defying or taking a position contrary to that of the Kamala Harris campaign, the Democrats, on illegal immigration and its nefarious effects on Western civilization. Let's actually start with that. Okay, let's start with this because I don't believe as of now the indictment has been dropped. And if it doesn't get dropped, it's going to be one hell of a rumor that has been spread on the interwebs, because this was everywhere. And I wait a little bit before commentating, because if it turns out just to be a rumor that even the media is not running with, fine. When the mainstream media starts running with their sources and they know that this indictment allegedly is going to be unsealed sooner than later, and it's everywhere, we can start hypothesizing as to the why. This is ABC. Eric Adams' indictment unsealed. When was it unsealed? 8 minutes ago. My goodness. It was unsealed before this show went. Well then, breaking news, people. Eric Adams' indictment unsealed. New York City mayor accused of accepting improper campaign contributions. The exact charges remain sealed. Holy crab apples. Accepting improper campaign contributions. Let's hear this. A 57-page, 5-count federal indictment unsealed on Thursday morning has charged Eric Adams with bribery, wire fraud, and accepting improper campaign contributions. My bottom line takeaway from this is we live in a world of politics where everybody is probably guilty of this, depending on the threshold, depending on the standards of application of the law. Every single politician out there is or can be found guilty of a crime, at least one. I mean, Barnes and I talk about it, and he says, like on any given day, every citizen commits maybe, 2 to 5 felonies. I don't know. That might be an exaggeration. These politicians are all scumbags and are all scoundrels, and the rules can be so opaque and so weaponized that anybody and everybody is guilty of or could be found guilty of, or at the very least charged with. The mayor is accused of taking the illegal campaign contributions and bribes from foreign nationals in exchange for favors that included helping Turkish governments officially get fire safety approvals for a new diplomatic building in the city. The alleged conduct predates Adams' time as mayor and dates to his time as Brooklyn Borough president. The indictment, how many years ago is this? What's the statute of limitations? The indictment includes photos of fancy hotel rooms and other benefits the mayor allegedly took. Adams held a press conference shortly thereafter and that was unsealed, vowed to continue working as mayor. So let's get some very interesting things here. It predates his role as mayorship. So that means that they've been sitting on this for a long time and deciding when to pursue it, if ever. Play ball and they don't play ball and they do. We are not surprised, Adams says, as he asked New Yorkers to wait to hear his defense. During his comments outside Grace Mansion, Adams and other speakers, including the lawyer, battled heckling from the Black Lives Matter New York, who are calling for his resignation. The mayor's defense attorney, Alex Spear, released a statement. Here, listen to this. We have known for some time that they would try to find a way to bring a case against Mayor Adams. Yesterday, more improper leaks. Today, they emailed us a summons, created a bogus spectacle. And very soon they will have no doubt hold an hour-long dog and pony show presser rather than appear in open court. Oh, you mean like exactly what they've been doing to Trump in New York? It's amazing. When they do it to their political adversaries, good, par for the course, fine. When they do it to them, then it becomes dog and pony, the illusion of justice, weaponized prosecution, and politicized prosecution. Federal judges call them out. Federal judges call them out all the time for spinning in front of the cameras and tainting jurors. Oh, you mean like what they did exactly with Trump? But they keep doing it because they can't help themselves. The spotlight is just too exciting. We'll see them in court. Oh, yeah. You're getting exactly what you deserve, Eric Adams. That's the unfortunate problem with all of this. The unsealing of the indictment hours after federal agents entered Mayor Adams' home. Yeah, they seized his phone. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, fine. About a dozen agents were called to the Grace Mansion, some carrying bags as they entered through the East Gate, accompanied by NYPD officers. They spent at least an hour inside the mayor's residence. Do we want to go down here? Yeah, let's see this. Events leading to the mayor's indictment. Spent a year under investigation. When is this? Just going to make sure that someone's telling me that I haven't been having the audio on. Cell phones were seized. The mayor. Oh, whatever. We're going to go down. Let's end this one here. This is absolutely amazing because it is par for the course. And now you have Eric Adams, righteous indignation at the dog and pony show of getting up there, giving public statements, tainting the jury pool, weaponizing the prosecutorial process. And now it's unfair because it's being done against Eric Adams. But when they did it against Donald Trump, Leticia James, day in and day out, tweeting about the prosecution of Donald Trump. Who's the other one there? The nipple judge anger on one. Yeah, that's Leticia James too. Leticia James is the nipple one. Then you have the Merchant, which is the Alvin Bragg. I'm sorry. When they come out there and they give their press conferences, tainting the jury pool, waging a war of public opinion against a defendant who has been gagged in the lawsuit, by the way, who has been gagged in those proceedings. That's fine in games, but now that they're doing it to Eric Adams, lo and behold, it's reprisal, political reprisal for this one. This one came out before the indictment was unsealed, so let's just see if this one's been refreshed. Eric Adams is claiming, or at least it seems to be alleging, becomes a first city mayor indicted in the historic claims feds prosecuting over migrant crisis. By the way, we freaking called this. If anybody has a memory, I don't remember what episode and what show it was. We freaking called this. That when he came out and said, don't come here, we're no longer a sanctuary city, go to Martha's Vineyard. When he said immigrants are changing the face of New York, and we're like, holy crap! Well, he's in big freaking trouble. Took a little bit of time. They've been sitting on their potential charges. Play ball, Eric. Don't open your big mouth, and we'll sit on these charges. Open your big mouth, make us look bad, make open porous borders look bad, and we'll come down with an iron fist on you. That's how it works. Now you know. Eric Adams has been indicted. Okay, we got that. The historic indictment, the first for a sitting New York City mayor. My goodness. They investigate Cuomo. Now they're indicted a sitting mayor. It's expected to be unsealed Thursday, yada, yada. Well, I think it was. Adams will surrender to authorities. Okay, let's just see here. Sources said the mayor is facing a charge of acting as an unregistered foreign agent after accepting donations. From my goodness, they're just milking Farah for all it's worth, if that's what it is. Quote, I always knew that if I stood my ground for New Yorkers that I would be a target. And a target I became. He said, well, you better be voting for Trump, Eric. If I am charged, I am innocent and I will fight this with every ounce of my strength and spirit. In the video statement released later, Adams said he wouldn't step down and pledged to, quote, fight these injustices with every ounce of my. It's fantastic. Where's the word migrant come from? Because he did blame it. Is there another one? Mayor Eric Adams has been indicted by a grand jury as the defiant chief executive claimed he was being prosecuted by the federal government for speaking out against the city's migrant crisis. The historic indictment. That's it. So patently obvious what they're doing. Let me just go to the chat here and make sure that we are. How is my video, by the way? Is the internet connection sufficiently decent? I had to turn off the air conditioning in this desert hotel. And so you might see me sweating a little more than usual, but I didn't want any noise because I'm using the mic camera. Anyhow, this is it. Eric Adams came out, highlighted the migrant crisis and its nefarious negative impacts on New York City. By the way, appreciate Eric Adams was shipping illegal immigrants to Canada. Do y'all remember that? If you don't remember that, let me bring it up. Eric Adams busing immigrants to Canada. My goodness, my handwriting. Yep. You speak out against the illegal immigrants in New York and the effect it's having. Bus them to Canada. Pay for their pay for their buses to ship them to Canada so they can cross the border. I think it was at Roxham Road. Surprise in Canada as New York City buses migrants to border. Do you all remember this? This is from 2023. An immigrant official in the Canadian province of Quebec has said it's surprising to learn that